Let me pull back the curtain on a truth that most women are too proud to admit and most men are too distracted to see. A woman can truly love you. She can value your presence, and yet she can still find herself taking you for granted. It is not always a conscious choice of malice. It is a slow, creeping erosion of appreciation that happens when your presence becomes as predictable as the air she breathes. You are there. You have always been there. And in her mind, you will always be there. This is the psychological trap of consistency. When you are the one who always texts first, the one who always forgives, and the one whose schedule is perpetually open for her, you stop being a man and start becoming a piece of the furniture. And here is the blunt truth. Nobody notices the chair they sit in every day until one day they go to sit down and it is gone. That is when the shock hits. That is when the reality of your absence finally outweighs the comfort of your presence. Most women do not realize they are losing you while they are losing you. They are too wrapped up in the ego boost of your attention to notice that your energy is starting to drain. They see your patience as a lack of other options. They see your kindness as a default setting rather than a choice you make every single day. But the moment you withdraw, everything shifts. The silence that follows a man's exit is not just quiet. It is a deafening roar that forces a woman to confront every single thing she overlooked. This video is for the man who is tired of being the afterthought. It is for the man who has given his all and received only crumbs in return. I am going to walk you through the psychological stages of what she feels when you finally choose yourself over her. We are going to look at the regret, the ego battles, and the eventual realization that she let a king slip through her fingers because she was too busy looking for a jester. This is not about revenge. It is about the raw, unfiltered psychology of value and scarcity. When a woman starts to feel the vacuum where your energy used to be, it flips a switch in her brain that no amount of arguing or pleading ever could. It starts when the phone stays dark. You have to understand that for a woman who has become accustomed to your pursuit, your name on her screen is a hit of dopamine. It is validation. Even if she was acting bored, even if she was giving you one-word answers, that notification was her proof that she still had power over you. But when you stop reaching out, that supply is cut off. At first, she might feel a sense of relief. She thinks, finally, some space. She might even tell her friends that she is glad you are not bothering her anymore. But that relief is a facade. It lasts for maybe 24 to 48 hours. Then, the curiosity starts to itch. She starts checking her phone not to reply to you, but to see if she missed a notification. She checks her signal. She wonders if her app is glitching. When the realization sets in that you actually haven't sent that good morning text, or that how was your day check-in, the power dynamic begins to tilt. She realizes that her space is actually just loneliness. The silence becomes a mirror. Without your constant stream of attention to distract her, she is forced to look at how she treated you. She starts replaying the last few conversations. She looks for the moment the shift happened. And because you are not there to explain it to her, her mind begins to fill in the blanks with her worst fears. She wonders if you found someone better. She wonders if you finally saw the parts of her she was trying to hide. The ego is a powerful thing, and when it is deprived of the validation it once took for granted, it begins to spiral. This is the moment she starts orbiting. She won't text you, but she will be the first one to watch your Instagram story. She will like a photo from 3 weeks ago just to let you know she is looking. It is a low-effort way to see if she can still pull your string. But if you remain silent, if you stay focused on your own path, that orbit becomes a frantic search for the man she thought she had wrapped around her finger. She begins to remember the things she ignored. You know those small gestures? The way you remembered her favorite coffee order? The way you listened to her vent about her job for hours? The way you were the only person who actually showed up when things got hard? When you were there, those things were just what he does. They were part of the background noise. But in your absence, they become legendary. She starts comparing every other interaction to the standard you set. She goes on a date with someone new, and he doesn't open the door. He doesn't ask how she is. He doesn't care about the details. Suddenly, the nice guy she took for granted looks like the rarest prize on earth. She realizes that your kindness wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a sign of character. And character is something she cannot find just anywhere. This is where the regret starts to turn into a physical weight. She sees a movie you liked, or she passes a place you used to go, and instead of feeling indifferent, she feels a sting. It is the sting of a missed opportunity. She realizes that she didn't just lose a boyfriend or a guy she was seeing, she lost a support system. She lost a witness to her life, and the most painful part for her is knowing that she was the one who pushed you away. She has to live with the fact that your exit was a direct result of her lack of investment. This is a humbling experience. For many women, especially those who are used to being chased, this is the first time they have had to face the consequences of their own apathy. They are used to men who beg. They are used to men who try harder when they are treated worse. When you do the opposite, when you respond to her coldness with your own absence, you break the script. You become an anomaly. You become the one who got away because you had the self-respect to actually leave. As she sits in that silence, she starts to play it cool. This is the stage where she tries to convince the world and herself that she is thriving. She posts the hot girl summer photos. She goes out every night. She makes sure to show the world that she is unbothered. But if you could see behind the screen, you would see a woman who is constantly refreshing her Who Viewed My Story list to see if your name is there. She is looking for any sign that you are still watching, because if you are watching, she still has a chance. If you are watching, she hasn't truly lost you. But if you stop watching, if you truly go dark and focus on your own evolution, that is when the panic sets in. That is when the living my best life posts stop feeling like a celebration and start feeling like a lie. She realizes that she is performing for an audience that isn't even in the theater anymore. This is the psychological turning point where she moves from missing your attention to missing you as a person. She starts to value your mind, your humor, and your strength. She wonders what you are doing, who you are talking to, and if you are giving that same incredible energy to someone else. The thought of another woman receiving the loyalty she discarded is a special kind of torture. It triggers a competitive instinct that she didn't even know she had. Suddenly, you are not the guy she could take or leave. You are the man she must have back. But here's the catch. By the time she reaches this realization, you have usually already begun your glow-up. And I am not just talking about hitting the gym, although that is part of it. I am talking about the mental and spiritual glow-up that happens when a man realizes his own worth. You start carrying yourself differently. Your voice has more weight. Your eyes have more focus. You are no longer looking for validation in her eyes because you have found it in your own mirror. When she eventually sees this version of you, whether it is in person or through the grapevine, it hits her like a tidal wave. She sees that you didn't just survive without her, you thrived. You didn't become bitter, you became better. And that is the ultimate blow to the ego of someone who took you for granted. It proves that she wasn't the source of your happiness. She was just a guest in your life who overstayed her welcome. This realization often leads to the reach out. It might be a, "Hey, I was thinking about you," or a, "Did you leave this at my place?" It is rarely a direct apology because the ego still wants to save face. It is a test to see if the door is still unlocked. She wants to see if she can still pull you back into her orbit with the minimum amount of effort. Most men fail here. They get the text and they immediately fold. They think, "Finally, she sees my value." But she doesn't see your value yet. She only sees your availability. If you jump at the first sign of her return, you prove that nothing has changed. You prove that you were just waiting for her to give you permission to exist again. But if you remain detached, if you treat her reach out with the same polite indifference you would show a distant acquaintance, you solidify your value in a way words never could. You show her that the man she took for granted is dead, and the man standing before her now has much higher standards. This creates a lasting psychological imprint. Even if you never get back together, you become the benchmark for every man she meets for the rest of her life. She will spend years looking for your replacement, only to find that you were irreplaceable. She will remember the way you walked away with your head held high, and she will regret the day she made you feel like you weren't enough. The internal war between her ego and her emotions is a long-term battle. Even months later, she will have moments of weakness where she wants to call you. She will see your success from afar and feel a pang of, "That could have been us." But the reality is that it couldn't have been us, as long as she was treating you like an option. The version of the relationship she is mourning is a fantasy. The reality was her taking and you giving until you had nothing left. By pulling back your energy, you gave her the greatest gift a man can give a woman who doesn't respect him: the consequences of her own actions. You allowed her to feel the weight of her choices. This is the only way a person truly grows. If you had stayed and kept trying, she would have kept disrespecting you. If you had argued, she would have kept dismissing you. But silence? Silence is a teacher that never loses its voice. It forces her to sit with herself. It forces her to realize that your love was a privilege, not a right. And as you focus on your own self-improvement, as you build your career, sharpen your body, and expand your mind, you realize something incredible. You realize that you don't actually need her to regret anything for you to be happy. The goal of pulling back your energy isn't to make her suffer. It is to make you whole. The fact that she misses you is just a side effect of you becoming the man you were always meant to be. This is the transition from being a pursuer to being a prize. A pursuer is always looking for external validation. He is always trying to convince someone to love him. A prize knows his value is inherent. He doesn't need to convince anyone of anything. He simply shows up, gives his best, and if it isn't appreciated, he moves on to where it is. This shift in mindset is what truly attracts a high-quality woman and what truly haunts the one who let you go. She realizes she didn't just lose a guy, she lost a king who was in the middle of building his kingdom. And now she has to watch from outside the gates while someone else takes the seat beside you. This is the blunt, honest truth from the female perspective. We don't respect what we can walk all over. We respect what we can't control. We respect the man who has a no-fly zone around his self-worth. When you establish that zone, you become magnetic. You become the man that women talk about in hushed tones with their friends. You become the standard. So if you are currently in that dark place where you feel unappreciated and overlooked, I want you to understand that you have all the power. You don't need her to change. You just need to change your location. Move away from her influence and move toward your own potential. Stop checking her social media. Stop asking mutual friends about her. Stop wondering if she misses you. The irony is that the moment you truly stop caring if she misses you is the exact moment she will start missing you the most. Scarcity creates value. As long as you are available, you are cheap. When you become unavailable, you become luxury. Think about the psychological impact of a limited edition item. People who didn't even want it suddenly feel a desperate need to own it simply because they can't. You are that limited edition. There is only one of you. There is only one man with your specific combination of experiences, skills, and heart. When you act like you are replaceable, the world will treat you as such. When you act like you are a one-of-a-kind asset, the world will compete for your attention. This woman who took you for granted was just a mirror reflecting your own low self-valuation back at you. When you level up your self-worth, she can no longer occupy the same space in your life. She either has to level up to meet you, or she has to fade away into the background of your past. Most of the time, she will fade away, and that is okay, because the man you are becoming is too big for the small-mindedness of someone who couldn't see your worth when it was right in front of her. Regret is a slow poison. She will carry it with her into her next relationship. She will look at the new guy and think, he doesn't handle stress the way he did, or he isn't as ambitious as he was. You have planted a seed in her mind that will grow every time life gets difficult. You have shown her what a real man looks like, and now she has to live with the fact that she traded a diamond for a handful of gravel. This isn't about being alpha or playing games. It's about the fundamental laws of human nature. We value what we earn, we protect what we might lose, and we crave what we can no longer have. By being a man of character and strength who isn't afraid to walk away, you embody all three of those laws. You make her earn your attention. You show her that she can lose you. And eventually, you become the thing she can no longer have. That is the ultimate psychological transformation. It moves from her having all the power to you having all the peace. And peace is the most attractive quality a man can possess. It is the calm in the center of the storm. It is the knowledge that no matter what she does, no matter who leaves or who stays, you are going to be just fine. That level of independence is terrifying to a woman who took you for granted because it means she has lost her leverage. She can no longer hurt you, and she can no longer manipulate your emotions. You are free. And in that freedom, you become the most desirable version of yourself. This is the journey of the man who stops chasing and starts leading. You lead your own life. You lead your own growth. And if a woman wants to be a part of that, she has to bring something to the table other than just her presence. She has to bring respect. She has to bring appreciation. She has to bring the same level of investment that you do. If she doesn't, you simply keep moving. There is no anger, no bitterness, just a calm realization that your time is too valuable to spend on someone who treats it like a commodity. This is the confidante's truth. This is what we tell each other in private. We talk about the guys who didn't take our crap. We talk about the ones who walked away and never looked back. We don't talk about the ones who begged. We don't talk about the ones who sent 10 texts for every one of ours. We talk about the man who knew his worth and acted accordingly. That is the man who stays in our heads for years. That is the man who makes us regret our mistakes. So, if you want to be that man, the path is clear. It isn't found in a text message. It isn't found in an argument. It is found in the gym, in the office, in the books you read, and in the silence of your own self-discovery. Focus on that, and I promise you, the world and that woman will eventually see exactly what they lost. But by then, you'll be so far ahead that you won't even be looking back. You'll be looking at the new horizon, the new opportunities, and the new people who actually know how to value a man of your caliber. You have to realize that her regret is her own burden to carry. It is not your job to fix it, and it is certainly not your job to comfort her through it. When a man tries to comfort a woman who is feeling the consequences of her own poor treatment of him, he essentially tells her that her behavior was acceptable. He gives her a get-out-of-jail-free card. Do not do that. Let her feel the sting. Let her sit in the cold. It is the only way she will ever learn how to treat the next man better, or how to treat you better if you ever decide to give her another chance, which, by the way, you probably shouldn't. Most of the time, when a person takes you for granted once, they will do it again the moment they feel safe in your presence. The only way to prevent it is to never let them feel that level of safety again, which is an exhausting way to live. Better to find someone who respects you from day one, someone who doesn't need to lose you to realize you're worth keeping. That woman exists, but you won't find her as long as you're still looking in the rearview mirror at the one who let you go. You have to clear the space. You have to empty the seat next to you so the right person can sit down. This psychological shift from being focused on her regret to being focused on your own future is the final stage of the transformation. It is when you stop being the victim of her indifference and start being the architect of your own happiness. You start to see the relationship for what it really was, a lesson. A lesson in what you will and will not tolerate. A lesson in the importance of boundaries. A lesson in the power of your own energy. When you look back with that perspective, the regret she feels becomes irrelevant to you. It's just a footnote in your success story. You can almost feel sorry for her because she is still the person who doesn't know how to value a good thing, while you are the person who is now attracting nothing but good things. That is the ultimate win. Not making her cry, not making her beg, but becoming so successful and so grounded that her opinion of you no longer carries any weight. You have evolved past her. You have grown beyond the version of you that she was able to manipulate. And that, my friend, is the most powerful position a man can be in. It is the position of total emotional sovereignty. You are the king of your own castle, and you decide who gets to cross the drawbridge. If she's standing out there in the rain, regretful and wishing she had played her cards differently, that's just the natural consequence of her choices. You didn't lock her out. She walked out, and you simply moved on. The silence you maintained wasn't a weapon. It was a boundary. It was you saying, "My energy is no longer available to someone who doesn't respect it." That is the most honest thing you can ever say to a woman. And it is the one thing she will never forget. As you move forward, keep that authoritative tone in your own life. Speak with conviction. Act with purpose. Don't be the man who asks for permission to be respected. Be the man who assumes respect as a baseline and removes himself the moment it's not present. This is the essence of high-value masculinity. It's not about being loud. It's about being certain. It's not about being aggressive. It's about being firm. When you live your life this way, you don't have to worry about being taken for granted. The people who are prone to doing that will naturally filter themselves out of your life because they can't handle your standard. And the people who do remain will be the ones who truly see you and truly value you. This is the goal. This is the transformation. It starts with one decision, the decision to stop chasing a ghost and start building a legacy. The woman from your past might be a part of your history, but she doesn't have to be a part of your future. Let her regret. Let her wonder. Let her spiral. You have work to do. You have a life to live. And believe me, that life is going to be so much bigger and better than the one you left behind. You are standing on the threshold of a new version of yourself, a version that is stronger, wiser, and more capable than ever before. Don't look back. The view is much better from where you're going. Every step you take away from that toxic dynamic is a step toward the man you were always meant to become. And that man? He doesn't have time to worry about who took him for granted. He's too busy being the man that everyone wants to be around. That is the ultimate psychological transformation. That is the power of pulling back your energy. That is the reality of what happens when you finally realize your own worth. Now, take that energy and go build something incredible. You have the tools, you have the knowledge, and now you have the perspective. The world is waiting for the man you're becoming. Don't keep it waiting any longer. Remember, a woman's regret is a delayed reaction to your self-respect. If you never show self-respect, she will never feel regret. But the moment you stand up for yourself, the clock starts ticking. Eventually, the weight of what she lost will catch up to her. It always does. But by then, you'll be the one who's moved on, the one who's healed, and the one who's winning. That is the message you need to carry with you. That is the truth that will set you free. And that is why, in the end, your silence is the most powerful thing you own. It speaks volumes about your character, your strength, and your future. Don't break it for anyone who hasn't earned the right to hear your voice. Stay focused, stay grounded, and stay on your path. The rest will take care of itself. Now, I want to hear your thoughts. Have you been through this? Have you felt that shift when you finally stopped chasing and started focusing on yourself? Did she try to come back, and how did you handle it? Your stories are the fuel for this community. We learn from each other's victories and each other's struggles. Drop a comment below and let's get into the real talk. I'll be there, reading and responding, because we're all in this together. This is about more than just relationships. It's about the evolution of the modern man. It's about finding your path and staying on it no matter what. So let's keep the conversation going. Your journey is just beginning, and I'm honored to be a part of it. Let's build something that lasts. Let's be the men that don't just ask for respect, but command it by the way we live our lives every single day. That is the path. That is the goal. Now, let's get to work.